just tired.
Or maybe his tummy hurts. He didn't eat that much.
Maybe he's not ticklish.
You think maybe he's scared of the dog?
Maybe he'll outgrow it. Maybe it's a phase. Maybe he just doesn't like smiling.
Maybe he has autism, and we can definitely do something to help.
Maybe is all you need to find out more about autism. No big, joyful smiles by 6 months is one early sign. Learn the others at autismspeaks.org/signs or see a doctor today for an autism screening. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better. And it can make a lifetime of difference. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Talk 1470 is WWNN Pompano Beach and 95.3 FM W237BD Boca Raton. The Health and Wealth Radio Network. 1470 AM and 95.3 FM. The Health and Wealth Radio Network. Listen for Health Connection Radio with Jay Foster every single day at 2 p.m. WNN.
I'm Ken Griffey Sr.
I'm Ken Griffey Jr., and we're proud to be men who speak up about advanced prostate cancer.
Not too long ago, we were a father and son team hitting back-to-back Major League home runs. Nothing could stop us until prostate cancer stopped me in my tracks.
1 in 7 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. Lucky for us, Dad caught his early.
It was difficult to speak up because of what was happening to me. 1 in 20 men will have advanced disease when first diagnosed.
Unfortunately, too many men live in a silent era because below-the-belt issues can be tough to talk about.
If you are living with prostate cancer and have symptoms like aches, fatigue, difficulty walking, sleeping, unexplained pain, or difficulty doing normal activities, don't stay silent. The most important thing is the support of your family.
If you or your loved one has prostate cancer, speak up. Visit menwhospeakup.com to learn more.
This was a public service announcement from Zero, the end of prostate cancer, and Bayer.
I wanted to be in the military since I was a kid.
I served in the United States Air Force.
I served a total of 16 years.
I was deployed 13 times.
On my second deployment, 4 bombs hit my vehicle.
And at 19 years old, that's the first time I ever saw somebody die.
Coming back, I was raging.
I started having pretty horrible nightmares.
I would wake up in the middle of the night, sweats.
I started drinking a lot.
I felt worthless.
I guess I never recognized it in myself.
Eventually, one day I just walked into the VA hospital and said I'd like to see somebody.
Don't suffer alone. You got to find that link with somebody that'll make you let it go.
It all starts with going to the VA. There's a whole community of veterans that just want to help you out.
It's for the guys who couldn't come back, so you owe it to them to live well, because they're not here with their families.
Visit MakeTheConnection.net.
Now you can get Talk 1470 WNN on 95.3 FM too. Loud and clear, Health and Wealth Radio, WNN.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to the Golf and Travel Show, the place to fine-tune your swing, dress for the course, club, or cruise, and get tips on the best places to play and stay at the right price. Vacation or staycation, host Dan Schub, along with his expert co-hosts and guests, will tell you where to go. To play golf and vacation, that is. Now, here's Dan.
Welcome to the Golf and Travel Show. I'm your host, Dan Schub, and tonight, like we typically do around this time, we're going to talk a little golf. We're going to talk some travel. I've been traveling, so I got some stories to tell from the road. And like we typically do, we're going to have a guest for you tonight. And hopefully in just a little bit, we'll be chatting with travel, sports, and techie writer Rick Limpert. He's written several books. Old friend of mine, comes on the show a couple of times a year to talk about gift giving, because he is an expert in particular on electronic type gifts and gadgets that do relate to travel and to sports and to golfers. So he's always got a lot of good advice. I've taken his advice, as a matter of fact, myself, and like to kind of share it with all of you. First of all, I also have to apologize. I do have a cold, and when you're the host and there's no co-host, the show has to go on. So if I cough a little bit, I apologize in advance, or if my voice doesn't sound the way it usually does, I'm sorry. That's what happens when you fly. The minute you get in the plane, you hear everybody else coughing and sneezing, and you say, oh, man, this is going to happen to me. And sure enough, it did happen to me, so I apologize for that. Somebody told me you need to take airborne when you go on a plane, before you go on a plane or on a cruise, and it stops you from getting that kind of stuff. And I'm going to be flying again soon, so I'm going to give that a try, and then I'll report back to you on that too. But before I talk about my trip and where I've been this past week, I thought since we typically talk a little bit more golf at the head of the show, and I didn't play on this trip, so I might play on my next trip, but this trip I didn't get a chance to play. But I did want to talk a little golf, and I don't typically talk much about what's going on the tour because for those of you who listen to the show when it reruns on Sunday on our sister station, WSBR, 740 AM, as well as 96.9 and 103.9 FM, and that runs at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So talking about the tour, sometimes whatever I talk about on a Friday night just doesn't make all that much sense by the time Sunday rolls around. But I think this week is a little bit different because it's been 15 months since El Tigre, Mr. Tiger Woods, has played, and he finally has come back. And that's a big story, whether you like Tiger or you don't like Tiger. Tiger is big for the game of golf. He's important to the game itself. He's important to the sponsors. He draws a crowd. The bigger the crowd that he draws, of course, the bigger the purses can be, so that all the other golfers benefit, other than when he was beating up on them and winning every week. Obviously, they didn't like that quite as much. But it's been much anticipated. He announced a couple of months ago that he was going to come back, and then he had to stall it a little bit. His game just wasn't where it needed to be. He said that his health was okay, but especially with the Ryder Cup, the time that he had to take out, he couldn't quite get his game in the right form. So, of course, everybody was waiting. Everybody was watching. They wanted to see how his health was. They wanted to see how his game was. They wanted to know what equipment he was going to play because during that period of time, unexpectedly, Nike decided to get out of the golf club equipment and the golf ball equipment business. So they're still supplying apparel and shoes, but so a lot was going to change. So I did get an opportunity to watch the golf yesterday. And Tiger, he showed some moments of brilliance, and that was good to see. And then, there were a few shots that weren't so good, whether it was off the tee or in particular his chipping game was not quite right. And some of it, the analysts were saying it had to do with, excuse me, pardon me, you just get a sip of something here. So they said that his stance is a little bit different. Perhaps he's a little bit more upright, and these are all possibly compensation that he's been forced to do due to his back injuries and to attempt to lengthen his career. He's had to make changes. So what he does is not going to look exactly the same as what he used to do. He's older and his body is different. But I'm kind of pleased to report that today, which is Friday, his game was in quite good shape. He actually played extremely well. He was 7 under par. Not a single bogey the entire round. He was pumped up about it. So, his game face is back on. He's tied for 9th, going into the weekend. It's only an 18-man field, but he's obviously in striking distance. The leaders are Dustin Johnson, who of course last year had just an incredible year, and Hideki Matsuyama, who, also has shown some real good golf the past few months or so. He's been on fire, so that's not a surprise either. So Tiger has his work cut out for him, but who knows if his health is back and his game is back. The parity that's out there, the number of younger players that are out there, there's so many good golfers out there, but if he's back in good form, I mean, not even his prime, but ready to contest, it could be a very, very interesting year. And of course, we don't know what the wear and tear on him is going to be, but it's going to be interesting. And the other thing that was interesting that everybody was kind of waiting on too was, as I mentioned, what kind of equipment. And I can give you a bit of information on that as well. He's hitting TaylorMade woods, drivers as well as fairway woods. He's still hitting his Nike irons. That hasn't changed. He's using a Scotty Cameron putter, so that's a Titleist brand putter. And the golf ball, he did switch. He is hitting a Bridgestone now, B330S. So if he starts to play well, those products will start to fly off the shelves. And just a warning to the weekend golfers out there. what the pros hit, what Tiger hits, doesn't mean it's going to work for you. We do not have the same speed of swing. We don't have the same quality of swing. And, it's great for those manufacturers, and they're going to get a huge boost. But keep in mind that you need to play the clubs and the balls that are best for your swing and your swing speed. So especially the shafts as well. A lot of people think that they swing much faster than they do. So I would advise you to go see a PGA professional or go to a retail store where typically a PGA professional might work and have somebody actually hook you up and put you on one of their computers and find out exactly what your swing speed is. And then try out a few different clubs before you just go buy them just because your favorite pro who happens to be killing it is playing that product. I know they spend a lot of money on sponsorships, but we're not pros. Well, most of us, at least I'm not. So make sure that you have something that's appropriate for you, because let's face it, golf is a tough enough game to begin with. Having the right equipment for you will help you enjoy it much more. Also on the topic of golf, I saw something that came across my computer just yesterday, I guess, and it's something brand new for amateur golfers like me and you probably, and it's a big tournament that's going to go on. It's called the U.S. Golf Classic, and it's a winner-take-all cash prize tournament where the winning twosome will take home a prize of $50,000. So much for being an amateur, because that'll go out the window, but it's still pretty cool. And the finals take place in Las Vegas, and which is where I'm going to be talking about next segment, because that's where I just came back from and where I'm going back to again. But there will be the preliminary rounds or qualifying rounds are going to be in 50 states. So every golfer in every state in the United States will have an opportunity to work their way into the finals out in Las Vegas. And I just thought that it was pretty cool. People like to play golf for money. I'm not one of them because I'm smart enough to not lose my money. But in any event, it's just everyday golfers sometimes like to play. And of course, this is going to be a handicap event. So if you do have to have a USGA handicap, but obviously that means that no matter how good your game is, you can still get out there and play. So, and have a chance at least. So if competitive golf is your thing and you want to go to Las Vegas and have a chance to share $50,000 with your playing partner, you might want to check it out. Their website where you can get more information and you can register for this event is usgolfclassic.com. So that's pretty easy, usgolfclassic.com. And it is a first-time event. So if anybody goes out there, let me know how you made out. How it was. The best way to reach me, of course, is on our Facebook page. That would be facebook.com/The Golf and Travel Show. Also talking a little bit about golf and travel. I like to talk about different places where you could go and stay and play. And most of the time I prefer to talk about places that I've been to. Sometimes I'm forced, just because the deals are so good, that I got to tell you about something that I haven't done. But I do all the research just to make sure that, that there's something going on there, that it's worth your time. But here's a place that I did stay at a long time ago, and it's a very nice place. It's an older golf course and resort that's been reinvented, redone time and time again, and recently the golf course has been totally renovated by Jack Nicklaus. And it's a great place for families as well, so that's why I thought it'd be good to tell you about it right now. And that's the Naples Beach Hotel and Golf Club, obviously in the Naples area. I've stayed there with kids, without kids. I was played their golf course before it was renovated. They built a new spa maybe 10 years ago, and I was there when they opened it. The kids, the camp that they have for the kids that you could put your kids in is wonderful. Great restaurant right on top of the Gulf. And Naples is just a favorite place for me, and obviously it's an easy place to get to. If you can hear my voice on the radio, you just shoot straight across the state. But for anybody who's listening from elsewhere, if you haven't had a chance to get to Naples, you need to do it. Now, of course, in peak season, it's not an inexpensive place, so I wouldn't call this one of Dan's deals, which I usually save for the end of the show. But They do have some packages to celebrate their new golf course in peak season. And believe it or not, these are good deals for Naples in peak season. This is from December 1st to April 30th. Packages for one golfer starting at $3.99 a night, or two golfers sharing a room, $5.53 per night, or if you have a room with one golfer and one non-golfer, $5.55 per night. And well, that doesn't seem to make much sense. So, but in any event, you may want to go check it out. The Naples Beach Hotel and Golf Club in Naples. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to come back, and we're going to talk a little bit about my experience out in Las Vegas, which is always interesting. So stay tuned for more of the Golf and Travel Show.
Shot on 7. I jumped a wedge at number 9. I 3-putted number 11.
And we're back, and it's time for a quick message from our sponsor, Labor Finders. If your business needs industrial workers, or if you're looking for work, you got to call Labor Finders. Labor Finders places for temporary or temporary to hire opportunities for skilled, semi-skilled, or general labor positions such as plumbers, electricians, concrete workers, forklift operators, office clerical, hospitality, and much, much more. Labor Finders has almost 200 offices nationwide. Right here near Boca Raton, they have offices in Homestead, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, and Jupiter. So if you need legal insured workers, or if you're looking for work, call Labor Finders toll free at 800-864-7749. That's 800-864-7749, or visit laborfinders.com.
La brillante luz de la ciudad, mi alma yo sé que entenderá. He ganado dinero y lo voy a quemar este mismo amanecer. Chicas rubias y bonitas me esperan ya, y todas ellas que alegres van, con todas yo he de bailar, yeah. Viva Las Vegas.
And we are back, and that's a little different version of that song. I thought I'd have a little fun with that one, but you got to change it up, just like Las Vegas changes it up. I've never seen a place reinvent itself so frequently or constantly than Las Vegas. And, you know, anybody who listens to the show knows it's a place that I enjoy going to. I'm fortunate to go on business a couple of times a year usually, sometimes 3, sometimes 4. Sometimes I just pick up and go just to have some fun. Which my next trip in a very short amount of time will be to just go visit a friend. As a matter of fact, my friend Scott, who's been on the show before, our resident table tennis professional, because the Nationals for table tennis is going to be out there in Las Vegas, which, I mean, everything is out there in Las Vegas. So I figured I'd just jump on a plane and have a few meals with him and watch some table tennis. But in any event, so I just went there, and I always like to give you the good, the bad, the ugly, and just tell it all. So I'll start out by saying, typically when I fly out there, I usually, the way the timing works for me, excuse me, is I usually fly Southwest out there during the day, and I take the red eye back on JetBlue. This particular trip, I took JetBlue both ways, including the red eye coming back. And for starters, I have to say now, JetBlue is typically my second favorite airline to Southwest, who's always at the top of my list at least. The people at JetBlue, the experience, the planes, the way they take care of you is always excellent. So I have to preface this that way. My flight out there, everything was perfect. So kudos to them. Coming back is sometimes a little different story. The red eye, which is scheduled to leave, I guess, maybe around 10:30 or 10:15 at night. It's always late. And I've spoken to other people who, as a matter of fact, Ken, who sometimes runs the board here for us, he has friends and he's done it. It's always late. And we were talking about it. And it's like, well, why don't they just change the time if it's always late? Well, this time I asked a very friendly young lady at the check-in counter, and she explained to me that the reason why it's frequently late, although not always late, which is why they don't change it, is because that particular plane is coming in internationally. And it lands, first of all, sometimes there's a little more delays when you're flying from further away. They got to land. They've got all sorts of customs type stuff that they need to take care of. And they're in a different terminal. And they can't start up the plane and fly it over to another terminal. So they actually have to get taxied and pulled or towed from one terminal over to the next terminal. So at least that was a logical explanation. They were honest with me, and I appreciate that. The other thing that didn't thrill me so much is when I landed in Fort Lauderdale, it took a good 30 or 40 minutes for the first suitcase to come up on the carousel, which recently I flew out of PBI in Palm Beach, and I got to say it was about twice as fast, which, when we landed at like 7 in the morning, we were the only plane landing. So, I don't know what was taking them so long. My suitcase didn't take too long to come up, but when I found it, it was missing a handle. The handle that you use, that the telescoping handle when, you wheel your bag. Obviously, one of the baggage guys thought it was a smart idea to lift it by that, which obviously it's not. You put that in for a reason. You don't leave that sticking out. And it was ripped right off. So I immediately went to talk to their baggage claim representatives, and fortunately there was no line, which is unusual. I had a very, very nice young lady take care of me, and she told me that this is what they can do. They can try and fix it, but, the handle was gone. So, this was my ECBC bag. We had them on in the show. It's a beautiful bag that is a combination carry-on and a garment bag. It has all sorts of high-tech features for your computer, a recharger. This is all the bells and whistles. It's a beautiful suitcase. I've used it maybe 5 times, and it retails for $400. So first they offered me $130 in JetBlue credit. I said no. They offered to fix it. I knew they wouldn't be able to. I said no. And they said, oh, well, we can replace it. So I said, okay. So they handed me some literature and said, just follow the instructions and you'll get a replacement. Well, earlier today, I went to read this and see what I needed to do, and they sent me to this luggage company that they work with that had luggage, but it wasn't the same. It's retailed for, about half the price. Did not have the bells and whistles, probably didn't have the quality. So I have to say that I wasn't too happy. They did say that they were sending me a $30 credit just for my trouble, so that's okay. But I did a workaround. I wrote to the folks at ECBC who guarantee their product under normal conditions. And, of course, I guess you could call this normal, but by the same token, you could say it's not normal because they did something that you're not supposed to do. It's not built for that. But the kind folks at the luggage company, ECBC, they said that if I send it to them, they will replace it with a brand new one. And they apologized that this happened to me. So now I could go back to JetBlue and get a different suitcase, or maybe consider taking their credit or something else. I don't know. I'll figure that out. But so I think this is a situation where JetBlue is a decent company and they're trying their best and they typically do the right thing. In this particular case, maybe not. And it makes me wonder about the people. Typically I opt to pay less and get less expensive stuff because I'm the kind of guy that things get lost and things get broken. But, how about the folks that spend even more money, on a Louis Vuitton suitcase, leather suitcase, whatever. I don't know. Just like I say, JetBlue, I love you, but this time I think you just dropped the ball a little bit. Also, I want to talk about the rest of my trip. So this time I stayed at a hotel that I have visited but never stayed at. And I've always wanted to stay at, but it's been a very pricey hotel. And this time of year is an off time of year. So if anybody's looking to get a good deal to Las Vegas between Thanksgiving and Christmas, everything is as inexpensive as you'll find it. Myself and my buddy who I travel with for business, we each had booked a room at the best price we could get. It was average of about $150, $160 a night, which for like a 4 to 5 star kind of property, it's pretty good. But when we got there, they offered to combine the two of us, since we were friends, and put us in a 2-bedroom suite. So I said, sure, So boy, did they hook us up. We had a 2-bedroom end suite, so that 1 bedroom had windows that overlooked the Bellagio fountain, the Eiffel Tower, and the entire Strip. Had its own beautiful bathroom, sunken tub. Adjacent to that was a huge living room. It had a table for 4, a coffee table, another TV, a desk, and another bathroom. And then another full bedroom with the sunken tub and a view the other direction. We had views in 3 directions from the 42nd floor. This room had to be worth a good $600-700 a night this time of year, and we paid less than half of that. Unfortunately, our bill was messed up, and they were charging me about 3 or 4 times as much as they were supposed to be. I complained about it, and they said they had a computer glitch, so they went ahead and fixed it. And then I looked at my bill, and I think it ended up being half what it was supposed to be. But to be honest, I wasn't going to fight about that because it's not easy. It is busy at the front desk, and it takes forever. So bottom line, I ended up getting the deal of the century and staying in a beautiful room. The hotel is wonderful. Another good tip, and I've done this before, we paid to use the spa 2 different days, just the facilities, without, getting any treatments. And it was lovely. It was $45 a person on the weekend, $35 on weekdays. Beautiful steam room, dry sauna. They even had a room with a cold mister in it, which was very, very cool. In between the saunas, you can go in there. A great, gigantic hot tub pool kind of a thing going on. Especially the night coming back when I was taking the red eye, I had work to do in the morning, so I had to check out of the hotel first thing in the morning, but my flight didn't leave until 11:30 at night. So I was able to go to the spa for $35, have tea and juice and drinks and snacks and kill 3-4 hours, take a little nap. It was just lovely. So there's a good tip. At most nice hotels that have a spa, you can do that. As far as what else I did in my spare time, mainly ate my way through Las Vegas. Las Vegas has become like the best foodie town, and I have my favorites that I go to, and then I always try and find a couple of new places. And I'll tell you a couple of favorites and a couple of new places, so you can jot this down. If you ever get a chance to go to Vegas, you got to check these places out. First of all, downtown, old part of town, Fremont Street. East of Fremont is an area that's up and coming, that's been renovated, called East Fremont. Carson Kitchen is a restaurant I've gone to in the past that's excellent down there. But this new one we tried called Glutton was very, very good too. Similar with small plates and lots of different things you could share and taste, and typical farm to table kind of food, and very, very unique dishes with crazy ingredients. And their tuna taco, raw tuna taco, was just a killer. Highly recommended. So that's Glutton down on East Fremont area, on Carson, actually. Another place we stumbled on was called Soho Sushi Burrito. Sounds strange. Kind of a fast food joint, kind of like some of the Mexican places that these days it's, where you kind of go up and you pick what you want to put in it. But this is a fusion between Asian and Mexican. So you have a choice to get either in a bowl with different choices for rice, or a wrap with like a seaweed or a tortilla, like 4 different choices. And then they've got things like raw tuna, which was high quality, diced up, things like shrimp tempura and soft shell crab chopped up, and they put that in there. And then all sorts of other toppings like salsas and sauces and fresh vegetables, different kinds of lettuces, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, you name it. I got it in a bowl. My buddy got it in a wrap. The 2 of them were under $11 each, incredibly healthy, excellent tasting, inexpensive. They've got a couple of locations. It was a high-end chef that worked at some fancier hotels that came up with this idea, and he's killing it. He's got, like I say, 2 or 3 locations. This one was on Sahara. you know, if I always rent a car because I like to go to all these different places, but do yourself a favor. Soho Sushi Burrito for fast food, high quality. You're going to like it. Also went to my favorite Thai restaurant, Lotus of Siam, also on